Welcome back to On the Nose, a podcast where myself and Thad Taylor look back on the goings-on in terms of thoroughbred racing domestically last Saturday. Thad, welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah, welcome back. New season, Paulie. We're up and about. So, we're going to get stuck into the new season with On the Nose. I think there's a bit of value in this 20 minutes for customers because following those market moves, following how the market reacts to certain horses can be of benefit down the line. So, get your pens out, take some notes, and I think you'll find the odd winner or two in the next few weeks.
Righty-ho. It was Winter Cup Day down at Riccarton, but we'll head up north first for the meeting at Ruakaka. Race 1, where are we? Was over the 1,100 metres for the 3-year-olds. And Cashla Bay with Matt Cartwright aboard gets home for, well in the market.
Yeah, well in the market. This race was a little bit more even than we first anticipated. I guess that was what the marketplace was telling us, because we opened Love the Sort at around 220, Cashla Bay at around 250, and they both eased with the amount of money for the locals. Eliza James, who was the market mover for Kenny Ray, 8 into 550. Look, she sat outside leader or led, one or the other. She was on the speed as people expected and boxed on very well, Eliza James. But, Cashla Bay too strong in the end. She was a classy 2-year-old. She's $31 and 1,000 guineas now after that win, so she's in commission for that. Love the Sort was a little bit ordinary. Had an awkward barrier draw of 6, got back, sort of pulled a little bit and didn't run on, but that went on the synthetic prior, so just don't know what to make with Love the Sort. And Rotten Tommy was rotten again, even though there was money for the stablemate of Eliza James. He was around 26 into around 12, back out to around 16 or 18 late. The run of the race, though, Soundwave. I was having its second start, Soundwave. I think son of Contributor was booming home, Soundwave. So one to watch out for potentially down the line. But Cashla Bay was a winning result due to all the money for Prosper, Eliza James, Rotten Tommy. Was plus 35,000 the first of the day there at Ruakaka.
Race 2 was over 1,200 metres, a maiden race, and Not a Bad Bergs. He got home at around the $16 mark. So I'm guessing a nice 1-2 punch for the bookies to start the day off.
We were off to a fly at Ruakaka. We won't be the same when we get to Riccarton, but that'll be 10 minutes away. But Not a Bad Bergs, you're right. Look, it was a wide open affair, and they really only had eyes for one horse, and that was Unwritten, Donna Logan, who debuted with the 3rd. And Unwritten, just a fraction unlucky, sort of got laid on, then got home strongly late. But it was 5 into 290 minus 100,000 was Unwritten. And then they really gravitated towards the Iridescent Maiden that was run at Ruakaka. Balls of Fire was 10 into 6. And if your back's in zero, girl, go and get yourself a stiff drink. Maybe not right at the moment, but that's what they would have said about Zinzero Girl. She was 15 into 850 and was unlucky. But they forgot about Not a Bad Bergs, $12 out to 13, hovering around that price. It was plus 50,000 for Not a Bad Bergs. All that money for Unwritten.
Race 3, a benchmark 65 over 1,300 metres, and Arabella with Jasmine Fawcett aboard. Also, not really liked by the market.
No, a local, Michelle Bradley trained. So, So there was a little sniff around or an inkling around for Arabella that she'd run a good race. She certainly did that. She was 31 into 26, so just a little bit, but it was plus 30,000 there. Geez, this was the move of the day at Ruakaka. Bad Education. Ran 3rd in the race. It was $12 on opening into $3.50 at the close. And ran a good 3rd, but had its chance, it would be fair to say. The favourites were very easy. Freebird and Fernandez. Berenhard was solid first up and was solid in the market as well at 7s. It was Gallant in second. But, Bad Education was the massive mover, 12 into 350, which meant Arabella was plus 30,000 the 3rd.
Race 4, also benchmark 65 over the 1,300 metres, and Dancing Dream. Well, she got home, and there was support for her.
There was. Yeah, it was around $8, $7.50 into 6. Another one for Kenny Ray. So, obviously, there was good support there. Both favourites, well, they ran 2nd and 3rd, and they were sort of steady to slightly easy. Fantastic Smile and Highly Anticipated. Highly Anticipated was pretty good, in fairness, but, not money for them. And Interlaken was extremely well backed in the race. That was a sort of a minus $60,000, $70,000 result, but it was sort of hovered around that $8 mark all day. So, Dancing Dream, because of the money for Fantastic Smile, Highly Anticipated, Interlaken, meant it was pretty much a break-even result, even though it was $7.50 into 6. One for the locals there, race 4.
Race 5, a maiden over the mile, and Super Rosa with Michael McNabb aboard. She also had her supporters.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, well, the move came for With Grace initially, just sort of scanning down here to have a look. But With Grace for Kylie Hoskins was the early move. And yeah, that man Kenny Ray again here with Super Rosa, $6.50 into $4.80. It was minus 45,000. And they were basically the only two that they really wanted in this market. So it was well found by sort of Lee Thinnes and BP on track. Super Rosa, they were both keen to have it as their sort of value bet on the day. And yeah, it was minus 45. With Grace, a little bit unlucky up the rail. It was also a losing result and ran second. So
the market got the Cornella.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. The marketplace got it bang on, and we were minus 45 in the 5th of the day.
Well, here was the good thing of the day, race 6. The rating, benchmark 75 over the mile, Lavakia out of the Kelso stable. I think the bookies had her fairly short. Maybe not short enough?
No, not short enough. Not short enough. $2, I think maybe $2.05, somewhere around there opening, and into $1.60 at the close. And in that short quote, sometimes it takes a wee bit of money to turn it into a bad result. It wasn't a terrible result by any stretch. We see sometimes with favourites, they move late because there's a lack of money for the main rivals, and that's exactly what happened here. If you see the second and third favourite easing and the favourite hasn't come in, well, you can probably guess the next step is the favourite's going to shorten, and it's exactly what happened here. Nancy She Wrote and Tide and Time with a Kenny Ray runner. Very easy, which meant the money just had to gravitate towards Slovakia. Kenny Ray's stablemate of Tide and Time, Richie's Dream, who ran third in the race, was 31 into 18. He gave it a bit of a spruik, as he can, Kenny, in the morning to say it was a bit of a chance, and it ran well. It was 31 into 18, so any movement was on the roughies. I mean, Whiskey and Rye shortened up at big money, but because Nancy She Wrote and Tide and Time were very soft, I mean, the money had to come for the favourite Slovakia. It was a bit of a break-even, small loss result, but the marketplace knew, and when the second and third favourites were friendless, it was even more confident late.
Race 7, the final race of the day up north at Ruakaka, a benchmark 65 over the 2,100-metre distance, and a double take at around, 5.50?
Exactly right. Yeah, and 5.50 into 5 late. Age shall not weary them, Paulie. One for you and me.
Yes.
Double take. 9-year-old. He turned 9 on the 1st of August, so the Friday. Former Hong Kong galloper, Tenny and Bob Vance, was an unlucky 4th. On the synthetic the start before, and had performed, I think, at Ruakaka previously, or certainly over ground, got back up over ground and was just given a gun ride, hit the front pretty early in the straight and just staved them off. In fairness, DeLorean, who ran second in the race, was 18 into $8.50 and ran second, so they got it pretty much spot on here. Suavetta was another mover for the clock with his 8 into $4.20, but yeah, well back double take, but because of the money for Suavetta and DeLorean, I mean, it was around plus 15 double take in the last of the day there.
Okay, so overall, Ruakaka sounded like it wasn't the worst day for bookies.
Yeah, no, we were, we were well on side. We were on side at Ruakaka, plus 95 I had it as. This is fixed odds win betting only we're referring to here, just the fixed odds win markets. Cashel Bay, not a bad Bergs, Arabella, we were off to a hummer. And then it sort of clawed back, Dancing Dream, Super Rosa, Slovakia, and double take was a small win. So plus 95 due to those first 3 races at Ruakaka.
Righty-ho, let's get to the good news. We'll head down south to Riccarton for Winter Cup Day. A 10-race card. Race 1 was a maiden hurdles over the 3,100 metres, and Hidalgo starts the day off, I'm going to say, very nicely for punters.
Yeah, and the roll continues, and we'll get a bit of a theme here shortly. But, Ruakaka okay, Riccarton not so much. From the TAB's perspective, you out there watching, potentially made $1 there at Riccarton, because Hidalgo in the first was 4.60 into 4, and geez, absolutely smashed them too. I don't know what they're going to do with Hidalgo. Niall Quinn, I think it was his first go over the jumps. The market knew. They only backed 2. In my shadow was Kevin Myers' runner. It was 4.60 into 3.30, just started favourite ahead of Hidalgo, but they backed 2. They got 1 home. It was minus 10,000 the first of the day, Hidalgo. Impressive.
Race 2 also, this time in open hurdles over the 3,100 metres and Dictation. I'm guessing, once again, well found.
Nelson McDougall down there, anywhere over the sticks. I think there are a chance there's generally support for the Nelson McDougall runners, as there should be. Look, he was 4 to 380, just back to 420 late, but rock solid in the market, well backed, minus 10,000. Bury the Cash was good in a lead up to the Grand National in a few days' time. They would have been happy enough for that. Didn't really budge off that $3.10, $3.20 mark all day, but was solidly supported without being spectacularly supported. Kevin Miser, too, in the race. Quid ran well, but the money was with Happy Star. It was only fair. So that might be of interest. They were backing Happy Star ahead of Quid, but Quid did run well. Minus 10 Dictation. Another good one for customers.
Okay, we leave the jumps momentarily. Race 3, 1,200 metres. El Vaquero.
Yeah, pity. We'll see a little bit more from the Pittman team and later in the card, but this was impressive. Had to go up against the first starter, Kevin Myers, and it was just going to be interesting to see how the market reacted to Ruby Rosa being a first starter. Yes, Kevin Myers has a good record in this race, but first starters marketplace tends to want to let you on with race day experience being pretty crucial, and that's what happened here. Ruby Rosa was 250 out to 340. And El Vaquero was 250 into 230. So they were the two that were right in the market. No money for the Kelvin Tyler runners, 4 of us. And the other one, which escapes me, but it has 4 in the name as well. 4 of us was a good run.
For the moment?
For the moment, thank you. I knew you had 4 somewhere. They were both pretty easy in this market. Some interesting money for Zar Vision, a first starter of David Walsh's no exposed trials. Don't know what to make it. The run was, sort of dropped out a little bit, but there was interest there. So, maybe mark it down and watch what the market does with Zar Vision next time. Minus 10,000 again, El Vaquero.
Race 4, open handicap over the 1,200 metres and Candle gets home. It looks like the punters are just nibbling away at that profit that bookies made up at Ruakaka.
You're not wrong, they're nibbling away. The Didham's nibbled away here. With Candle, she was very good. She was the hot horse. She was the market mover. Market got it exactly right. In fact, Candle was 450 into 350. It was minus 10,000 again. The actual worst result in the race was Express Cope, who was minus 40,000 for the Pitmans. That nearly held on, ran second. So 1-2 punch again there. If it wasn't Candle, it would have been Express Cope. And Victor Rouge was the opening favourite. It was soft, 340 out to 450. So yep, marketplace got it right again. Certainly 2 hot horses in a row there, and El Vaquero and Candle minus 10. So loss. That's 4 in a row, Paul. Can we keep the roll going here?
I'm going to say no, because we hit to race 5, the Coral, and what a fantastic dress rehearsal for the Grand National. And if Slovakia was the good thing up north, then surely Jesco was the good thing down south.
Well, you make the most relevant part of your point there, and you did right. It was. There was no money for the second favourite again here, which made the move on Jesco even more pronounced. Look, it started at $1.30, and you've got all the trackside presenters saying, this is too short. And look, who's taking $1.30 in a Coral? If you took $2 where it opened, you would have been very, very pleased with yourself. Minus 20,000, so extremely well backed. And this was made worse for the fact that West Coast was $3 out to $8.50. So the marketplace knew that the old boy, the champ, maybe had eyes on the Grand National in 7 days' time. Ran well, West Coast, but it was no match for Jesco. Captain's run was very good, 12 out to 21, back to 16 late, and sort of gave it a fright, a couple of fences out, didn't it?
That looked like your $1.30 or your $1.50 wasn't a sure thing.
No, but then he jumped the last Jesco and won by about 5 lengths. Yes, so, but you're exactly right. The captain's run sort of put a couple of lengths on, and I thought, hang on.
A few nervous moments.
Exactly, a few nervous moments. But in the end, customers were well rewarded, minus 20,000 Jesco. That's 5 losses in a row, Paul. 5 losses in a row.
Race 6, it was over the 1,200 metres, benchmark 65, and Cyprus. Oh, boy. Are we stopping the trend here?
No, we're not stopping the trend. The trend continues. A Kevin Myers runner, that's 340 into 235. And brain them too, Cyprus was very impressive. And again, the sort of other horses on the market were a little bit friendless. Tonya's Dragon in particular, very easy. Some interesting money for Manali. First up, Crystal Ray Kelly Myers was 26 into 16, maybe one to mark down. Didn't run badly, and I think will be improved with a run Manali, but there's probably only one horse to talk about here, and it's Cyprus. 340 into 235 minus 25,000.
It doesn't sound like we've had a plus so far in the meeting down at Riccarton.
6 minuses so far, Paul.
Right, race 7, benchmark 75 over the 1,400 metres, and Almanet with Bruno Quiros aboard. Sounds like another minus for mine.
You're right. The only thing that saved us here was the money. There were 3 in the market here, Lady Bankside, Magna Star, and Magna Star was actually the hot horse in the end, and Almanet, who we opened at 350 or 340, eased to $4, but because of the profile, because it's Tiakau, because it's Bruno down there, that was still a losing result. So it was a minus 5,000. Investigate was first up down there. There was money 18 into 12. Again, maybe we'll benefit with that first up performance. But yeah, another loss, minus 5,000. Magna Star boxed on fairly the hot horse, but was no match for Almanet, minus 5,000.
Race 8, benchmark 65 over the mile, and for Blue. Here we go, Thad.
Exactly. Hey? Here's a winner? No.
What?
No. Well, you would have thought so. 14 out to 21, back to 19 late, and we can blame one man for this. Matthew Cross. I hope he doesn't watch on the nose.
Wow.
I'm sure he does, because there's thousands of you out there. But, yeah, he tipped it as his long shot about 5 minutes out before the race. It was sort of a small winning result. Or a relatively small winning result. And then in the end of it was minus 20,000 Far Blue when Crossy found it prior to the start. So well played to him. Abandonment was $4 into $2.50 for Kevin Myers. He had its chance. It was getting laid all over by the Pittman runner there in the straight. So maybe one to follow, Abandonment. But yeah, Far Blue. Well done, Matt Cross, minus 20,000. So, yeah, stick with Crossy with those roughies.
Matt Cross, friend of the punters.
He is. He is a friend of the punters. He always makes a good, strong case, like in the way he delivers it, makes a bit of sense. It's succinct. It's to the point. He doesn't, labour it. He just gets in and gets it done, and punters gravitate towards what he has to say, particularly when they're out there paying $20.
Bookies may have to take a little more notice of our good friend, Mr. Matt Cross. Right, on to the feature of the day, the Winter Cup, race 9. Tina.com on Chase gets home. Surely, final. The bookies, they've got one. The market, the Chase drifted.
Yeah, it did. We opened it quite short, $9. He's one of those horses, Chase. He can bob up in a race like this, and he did. So I'm not saying anything that isn't obvious, but he's performed at a high level. Is probably what I'm trying to say, Chase, and he's performed well at a high level in the past. He's that horse that can sneak under the guard because you sort of forget about him, and he's obviously getting on a bit. How old is he now, Paul?
He is.
How do they don't tell you there?
No, they don't.
Okay, I would say 7 or so. Potentially 8, Chase. And so he's been around the block.
He's just had a birthday.
Yeah, he has just had a birthday. Yeah. That's one thing we can say. 9 out to 16, plus $70,000 on Chase. Only winning result at Riccarton on the 10-race card for the TAB was Chase. Well done to Stephen Nichols and the team.
Yes.
Who knows was the big market mover. Ran very well. 6 into 370. Well done to Niall Quinn. I don't know if this was the plan all along with the mare, but freshened up and ran a game race, 6 into 370. Highly commended to Bradman. He was friendless. The top weights were friendless. Bilardo boy Bradman on the heavy track. He was $5.50 up to $13, Bradman, and ran his usual gutsy race.
He certainly did.
And customers grab it. Even though he was drifting, he was still a losing result because customers, love the effort he puts in. Cork was another big market mover. Those were the two who knows in Cork, 9 into 550. There was money for King of the Castle. There was money for If I Did It. There was no money for Chase. 9 out to 16 plus 70 in the Winter Cup.
Okay, so surely bookies go bang, bang to finish the day. Race 10.
By law of averages, we should.
The benchmark 75 over 1,800 metres and Pro Serve, who was, out at around $12? So, yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that. No, we got pitied. We got pitied in the last. I think he was big on it on the radio in the morning. He was big on it when he was interviewed on Trackside. He thought it was one of his each-way bets of the day. And when he labels them like that. It's not unusual that he labels his own horse, but he does always have good support, as he should do. So that's 2 on the card for the Pitmans, obviously, with El Vaquero. I think 31 and a 2,000 guineas, El Vaquero. But Pro Serve, well played. Sort of missed the start, came up the rail. Probably had no right to win, but it was the worst result of the day. Minus 75,000 in the last on Pro Serve. Vino Valentino ran well. It was 14 into 9. And yeah, don't know what to make of Ballroom Blitz. The Patterson runner that came down was well backed, relatively well backed, but yeah, probably not as well backed as a Patterson runner might be had they been really confident, if that makes any sense. Yeah, Pro Serve, minus 75,000. 9 out of 10 races. I don't know if I can't really remember losing on 9 out of 10 races on a card too often. So well played to those that had a bet at Riccarton on Saturday.
Well, I already know the result. I don't know the number, but obviously a great day for punters down at Riccarton.
Yeah, about minus 120,000. Just it was sort of small losses early on. You know, they're not massively high turnover races, those sort of maiden hurdles and things, but it's still minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, minus 20 for Jesco, Cyprus minus 30. Far Blue, we got Crossy minus 20, and then the big hit at the end with Pro Serve. So well played. It was a losing day for the TAB on the fixed odds win books. Ruakaka was plus 95. Riccarton was minus 120,000 as we move on to the second day. Grand National Day there at Riccarton as the carnival continues.
Exactly, and that's what we'll be back with next week, a review of Grand National Day down at Riccarton, and of course there's a meeting up at Te Rapa as well. So Thad, thanks for coming along. Obviously that was last Saturday was a day for the punters.
It was, and they happen, as anyone that watched this program, what do we call this? Podcast. Of course, we've got to modernise ourselves.
Big time. Yeah.
Anyone who watches this 20 minutes would know it does happen, and that's why we play the game. So, it's good to be back. We'll be trying to come to you every week with how the TAB went and find those horses that have been supported in the market, that maybe you were a little bit unlucky or ran well, that we can follow with a bit of confidence as the season progresses.
Brilliant. Thanks, Thad. And thanks to everyone out there for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another edition of On the Nose.